We're gonna watch this first, and then I'm gonna talk, and then we're gonna watch a couple of other videos, and I'm gonna talk.
And now to that viral video we've been talking about throughout the morning here on Good Morning Jack. Traffic stop in Duval. We have just received a copy of the official police report back from February of this year. Our crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson will momentarily, but first, we want to bring you back up to speed on how this all started. As far as we know, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office announced Sunday that they have launched an internal investigation after a video showed an officer shattered a car window and hit the driver in the head multiple times. The video begins with the driver explaining to a Jacksonville Sheriff's officer you cannot see on camera that he was pulled over for not having his headlights on. The driver argued the lights did not need to be on because it wasn't raining. When he asks for a supervisor, things quickly escalate. Take a look.
Can you call your supervisor? All right, go for it. Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. Here. I'm here. What is your reason, sir? What is your reason? Step out now. All right. No.
We mentioned the driver was hit multiple times. You see once they're in the vehicle and again when he's taken out of the vehicle. The driver is identified as a 22-year-old. His name is William McNeil Jr. He's now represented by civil rights attorneys Ben Crump and Harry Daniels. Sheriff TK Waters says the department is committed to a full review of the incident and holding officers to the highest standards. We want to bring in now Jasmine Rose. She's standing by with our crime and safety expert, Ken Jefferson, with what we know so far about this incident.
Yes, and we actually just received this police report, and there's a lot of information that we're learning new this morning. So make sure you just stick with us as we're combing through all of this information. So again, we have Ken Jefferson joining us here with us this morning. He's our crime and safety expert. And Ken, what have you noticed inside of this police report that stood out to you the most? It was that night.
Yeah, a couple of things. The officer's reasoning for probable cause to stop him said that it was inclement weather and he was driving without headlights on. So as we look at the video, it appears to be sunny. It's not raining. Does not appear to be foggy or anything at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Fuck all that.
Stop.
Fuck all that. Fuck all that. Fuck all that.
It clearly shows that he had a seatbelt on that they had to.
All right, that's
drive without headlights and no seatbelt on. Unless he put the seatbelt on after the stop, it clearly shows that he had a seatbelt on that they had to take it off of him to extract him out of the vehicle. So those are questions that's going to have to be answered by the officer themselves. When the officer, when we look at the body cam and the officer is approaching the vehicle, does he have a seatbelt on? You know, so, but he did not articulate in the report that he placed the seatbelt on after the stop. He just said he saw him driving without the seatbelt on. That stood out to me. And then he also said that there was a large knife that he was reaching for that was on the floorboard under the driver's seat. According to what I see in this video, I don't see any kind of reach going on at all. Maybe I missed it, or maybe it wasn't there. We'll find out.
Were no injuries in this chip to as well. So these are some of the things that stand out. What happens when an officer writes down something that doesn't actually occur during a traffic stop or anything that happens that doesn't seem to appear to be true?
Well, they're held accountable for the report because it's an official police report, sworn statement by that particular officer. The fact that they had to call JFRD to provide medical assistance shows that there was some type of injuries somewhere, either injuries to the officer or the person involved in this incident. So that contradicts
this video. When he asked for that supervisor, is it okay to ask for a supervisor? Does it make the traffic stop more safe?
Well, it's always okay to ask for a supervisor. But what the officer is saying is the individual was not complying with him. He said, you get out of the car, we'll do all this, that, and the other, as opposed to saying, I'll call a supervisor for you to get him over here. That may have eased the individual's mind and calmed him down a little bit. But the key thing is If you're on a traffic stop, you're asked to get out of the car, just comply. You're not going to win an argument.
That is one of the number one things, or one of the top things that I'm pissed off about. Let's go to this. So that was not Ben Crumb. That was whoever they got. This is Ben Crumb. Ben Crumb is one of the attorneys that was hired for this case. The newly obtained JSO police report on William McNeil Jr.'s violent traffic stop claims he was verbally combative and reached for a knife, and doesn't mention him being punched in the face while in the car, but video shows him calm and showing his hands. 100% correct. I don't think anybody who has a weapon in the car that intends to use it to harm a police officer turns their phone on to record it. I don't believe that a person who is intending to do harm to the police asks for a supervisor, nor do they show their hands, nor are they as calm as he is, nor do they just eat a punch to the face. He ate a punch to the face. Ate it. Didn't fight back. Didn't go to jump out the car. From the time that window was broken, he let the officers do whatever they was going to do. And we're going to go back to that video in a second. But this right here is one of the things that dude just said and this dude is talking about. But when are we going to start listening to basic commands, though? This is a person that doesn't know their rights. This is the type of person that the police love because they can abuse them. They can get them to completely give up their rights and just be compliant. Because that's what the police officers want. Whether they're right or wrong, they want compliance. And I like the people that get on his ass in the comments. So you expect people to just follow unlawful commands because it comes from a cop. So when he tells a woman to disrobe, that will be fine too? No, unlawful orders do not have to be followed. People are learning their rights and insisting they be followed. What part of open your door is unlawful? The part where the citizen doesn't see probable cause. Keep in mind, this is America, not Gestapo. Which one of the rights says citizens are required themselves to give probable cause, required to see themselves give probable cause to the police and to the police before they are required to comply with a traffic stop? You're a fucking dumbass. Shaking my head. Now, color doesn't matter. However, this dude, oh, that's not even him. That's just somebody he decided to. Oh, yeah. I didn't even. Yeah. Former glorified hole plugger, wannabe trigger puller, current oil and gas, former coon ass, current Texan. So for one, this is probably I've started calling them rage bait bots. But this is what happens when you speak against what someone else knows is their norm. They call you a dumbass, a fucking dumbass. This guy is an idiot and he doesn't know his rights, which is because he called him a fucking dumbass. This isn't actually even a question. He's assuming that the police are always right. So let's read the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Probable cause. What is it? Reasonable articulable suspicion. Now, it was said that his headlights was off, which I've been pulled over for that as well. And it was explained to me and it made a lot of sense. However, it was 11:30 at night. I was leaving from, I think this is my current wife. We were dating at the time. I was leaving from her grandmother's house, dropping her off after a date or something like that. And I got pulled over twice. Twice I got pulled over, on the same street, because I didn't have my headlights on. And when he explained it to me, he said, usually that we see that as an indicator of somebody driving under the influence. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a whole lot of sense. I didn't get a ticket for that. I didn't get harassed for that. I was simply informed and sent about my way. I'm assuming because I wasn't drunk and the police officer didn't see probable cause or didn't feel like making up one. These type of searches happen every day. Had the officers not beaten him, the probable cause that warranted the traffic stop could have easily led to prosecution. I don't even know what this means fully. I don't even know what that means fully. These type of searches happen every day. 100%. Yeah, they do. And they're wrong. Yeah, they go against the Fourth Amendment. That's called breaking someone's civil rights. It's unlawful. So what you should have said is these types of unlawful searches happen every day. Had the officers not beaten him, the probable cause that warranted the traffic stop could have easily led to prosecution. No, it couldn't. It leads to a ticket. Driving without your headlights on leads to a ticket. Maybe a little bit of an investigation. Maybe they ask him, has he anything to drink, anything like that? No, that type of stuff. They don't lead to him getting snatched out of the car and punched in the face, snatched out of the car, punched in the face again, and slammed on the ground. Even for not verbally complying. All of what happened could have happened outside of him getting punched in the face. That's what makes this wrong. That's one of the top things that makes this wrong. Not only because the police report was lied on, because it was also said that he didn't retain any injuries, even though they had to call the EMTs there to check on him. That should have been one of the things reported in the police report. Also, it was lied about, saying that he had a knife in the car. Where's the knife? Did the knife go to evidence? Where's the knife? They also said he had I don't know if they show it in this video, but after he gets to the ground and while they're berating him as they're arresting him after already beating him, they said, "Oh, it's weed in his pocket." I'm almost certain medical marijuana is legal in Florida. So already in that moment, they're trying to further justify what they just did.
Duval County Police will be more forward-facing. That's the phrase from leaders of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office under TK Waters. Promotions in patrol and patrol support shine a light on the diversity of leadership in a new JSO.
I do not give a shit. We're going to talk about that forward-facing thing, but I just want to point out these buzzwords trying to make people happy about it being more people of color on staff in these different organizations and government officials being more diverse and all that, I don't give a fuck. Every single officer, attorney, whomever working for the state or government could be nothing but brown and black people. If they're treading on people's rights, I don't give a damn what color they are. I don't care. I care about the people being safe. That's what I care about. There's all these talks about. Matter of fact, let's go to that. Let's go to that.
Kind of erratic behavior. It's not a good situation.
Sheriff, it seems like we've had a lot of erratic behavior lately. Just aren't listening to police as they're trying to calm them down. You make anything out of that? I mean, it's the situation on Wednesday too.
It's a strange situation we find ourselves in 2025. Things have changed around the world when it comes to how people view authority and view the police. I don't know if that's what his situation was, but we're seeing this a little bit more often, right? I think since I've been sheriff since November of 2022, we've had maybe 6 officers shot or close to somewhere around there. I'd have to get you that number definitely, but far too many, and too many situations where we're just not getting the compliance that we need, because these things can often end very peacefully. It's always up to the individual that we're here to speak to or that we face. They make the decision, and once they make a decision, then we act upon the decision that they make.
Real bold statements, Mr. T.K. Waters, Jacksonville Sheriff of the Jacksonville Sheriff Department. Not sheriff officer, the sheriff, the head of the Jacksonville Sheriff Officer Department. Real bold statements. So one of the things he said is we're not getting compliance. One of the things another thing that he said, he pointed out the year 2025. Another thing that he said was they've had 6 officer shootings. Has absolutely nothing to do with what's being spoken about. All that is further justification on the overreaction of officers. Now, it may have more context to do with what this video is about. If you see the title, it says Jacksonville police officers shoot and kill a man after traffic crash. Give a little bit of context. 69-year-old man crashes into a lady in an intersection. After they get her situated, they're talking to him. He has a gun. They try to talk him down because he's talking about killing himself, or so they say. He's talking about killing himself. A person wanders on the scene, a bicyclist. The suspect turns to the bicyclist intending to do harm, and they react. Maybe the 6 officer shooting has something to do with that. I don't know. But people have been rebelling towards the police for longer than I've been born, and I'm 30 years old. I was born in 1994. The Watts riots was 1992. Rodney King beating, stop and frisk, all of the things that have been implemented where it's either officers making their own decisions and doing what they want, or they're enforcing unlawful or unconstitutional laws. That's why you're not getting the compliance. Now, it's different situations. It's criminals that don't comply. It's law-abiding citizens that don't comply. The compliance is not the issue. The officers are the issue. Because there are ways, like he said, there's ways for this to end peacefully. Even with a gun-toting criminal that is hell-bent on shooting up the everything can end peacefully. It can end with very minor injuries. It can end with very minor bad repercussions. It can end peacefully. That's on the officers. It's not on the civilian. Yes, civilians are 100% responsible on what they do. Every individual is responsible on what they do. But to take away the responsibility of handling the situation, to take that responsibility away from the people with authority, that's enabling. That's enabling bad behavior. That's enabling bad decision making by police officers, your police officers, the ones that answer to you. There was something else. Okay, yeah. Speaking of you, TK Waters, Sheriff TK Waters, you're pretty good at being in the public eye. You're most of the time very quick, as y'all can see in that video. This is at the crime scene. This is up the block from the crime scene. As you can see, the police officers are still in the background. The police squad cars are still in the background from the scene being handled. He's very fast with getting to these things and getting out in front of the media. This is a regular thing that he does. Something that I actually appreciate. So how is it that this incident with William McNeil Jr. happened in February? It comes out yesterday, between yesterday and today, in July, the end of July. And it's just now being spoken about. We didn't get no videos from this shooting. That was another thing that was said. Where is it? So this is from, I'll just read it. JSO has completed its investigation of Charles Fegart's death, waiting on state attorney. So this is in reference to something that happened at the Duval County Jail in April. It involved 9 officers. They were immediately investigated after the incident. Not even just after he died, because he died a day after the incident, or he died a couple of days after the incident. This happened in April. It happened a couple of days before the investigation was launched. As soon as the investigation was launched, the 9 officers involved were suspended. They were stripped of authority and suspended. I appreciate that. The victim passed away in the same day that the investigation was launched. Something that he said here sparked my interest. I think it's important for me to let the people know that we self-reported this. He said during exclusive interview, no one got to sneak by the wayside. Don't you think that should apply to everything that happens with your department, with the organization that you're head of? Everything that happens in this department, in your department, comes to you. If they don't come to you, it comes to your subordinates. With you being always the last person at the crime scene to report on everything, this shouldn't have been something that y'all were caught on, because the situation with William McNeil, y'all were caught. Y'all, and I mean, though you wasn't there, these are your officers. They're an extension of you. You're solely responsible for every decision they make, because you sign off on the training, you sign off on who gets hired, you sign off on who stays there. All of these things revolve around you. So why is it that y'all had to be caught on this? I appreciate you jumping out in front of a person being beaten into critical condition. I appreciate that. However, that shouldn't be the only thing that you jump in front of. And for me, this is not about color. It's not about color. Am I a little bit more ticked off that this is a young black man? Yeah, for sure. However, my talking points are not about color. We already know that exists, and it's going to continue to exist. I don't know that there's much that we can do about that. But what we can do is make sure that our rights are continued to be upheld and protected. And statements like he should have just got out the car is how our rights get taken away. Use them or lose them. It's how they slowly start breaking down, and laws are continuously changing and changing and changing and changing. But amendment means that it was changed once before. It also means that it can be changed again. And we're well on the way of our amendments being amended. If people don't start paying attention and using their rights, knowing their rights, Sheriff TK Waters is very much about being open and authentic. 4 months ago, 6.5 million views of the ride along with Florida Sheriff. This is you. TK Waters, this is you. Right there in front of the camera, yet again. This was 4 months ago. The incident with William McNeil was 5 months ago. I'm not understanding the disconnect. Why is it that you're able to be there for all the wins and some of the losses? And it seems like you're usually there for the most part, from what I've seen. I'm not saying that this is 100% true. I'm talking about from my POV. It seems that you're there a lot for when the officer isn't the problem. Now, you jumped out in front of it when the officer was the problem with this guy being, beaten to death, pretty much. Or beaten and left for dead and then passing away. I need to see more transparency about your officers in your department. Because until they're held accountable, just as much accountable as the people that you're locking up for drugs and gang activity and all of the law breaking, I want the civilian criminals to be held as just as accountable as the authoritative criminals, the ones that wear a badge. They're lying on reports. They're abusing citizens. They're putting their hands on people. They're giving unlawful orders, and they're riding out on those unlawful orders, lying about it, covering it up. And this would never have came to light. I have to assume this. I have to assume that this would have never came to light had this video not been released. It's been 5 months. And it didn't get any traction. It didn't have any investigation. It didn't have any repercussions for the officers that did this. I still haven't even seen any repercussions because within the day of the incident of hold on, what's his name again? I don't want to disrespect the family. Charles Fagarts. I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong. Rest in peace, Charles Fagarts. Within the day, not only was an investigation launched, but the involved officers were suspended and stripped of their authority. They weren't just placed on desk duty, they were sent home. We cannot have you out on the streets protecting the people with this up in the air. I need to see the same thing for all 5, 6, 7, however many officers that was on the scene, and watch this man get punched in his face twice, help him get slammed on his face unlawfully. I need to see the same thing. If you can afford to suspend 9 officers for the other incident, you can afford to suspend 5, 6, 7, however many for this. And the reason why, I'll end with this. The reason why this strikes me so closely, I grew up in Brunswick, Georgia. That's 45 minutes to an hour away from Jacksonville, Florida. When I got out of the Army, I moved to about 30 minutes away from Jacksonville, Florida. When I got out of the Army, I first started doing Lyft and Uber and different ride share services and delivering services. And basically all the work that I did was in Jacksonville, Florida. Growing up, I was back and forth to Jacksonville all the time. My parents, me and my family moved to Jacksonville very often. Probably every other weekend at one point. All our school clothes shopping happened in Jacksonville, Florida. When we was just looking to go and do something, that was the closest place for us to kick it and parlay. My wife is from Jacksonville, Florida. So this is very, very, very close to me. So it pisses me off because this is I consider this a part of my community. It's right there. I got people that live there. I got people that go there often. One of my many bosses, because I have 3 or 4 jobs at this point, one of my many bosses has a business there. He's affected by this stuff too. My best friend that works for this said boss has to go back and forth to Jacksonville often. This could have happened to him. This could have happened to me. This could have happened to my wife. I'm going to keep tabs on this whole thing. We need to see some repercussions. And I'm not just talking about from the taxpayers' money when William McNeil gets paid off. Because he's going to get paid off. He's going to get paid off, more than likely. That's not all that I need to see. And I don't want to just see officers were reprimanded and retrained either. That officer that punched him in his face, the officer that lied on the police report, the officer that denied him to see a supervisor when he clearly asked for one, they need to go. They need to go. If it's super easy to cancel all of the people that's been canceled for major and minor offenses in the celebrities and things of that nature, in that realm, if their career can be scourged to a halt as fast as it has, you can replace these officers faster. Now, I'm not saying that William McNeil didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying that because I don't know the full story. What I do know is he was very calm. What I do know is once the scuffling started, he complied because you can see he ate a punch to the face. Didn't move. The most he did was raise his hands in surrender, showing that he had nothing in his hands. He was snatched out of his car, told to put his hands behind his back. As he's putting his hands behind his back, go back and watch the video again. You can see his arm going behind his back, and he was punched in the face again by the same officer that just punched him in the face the first time. While there are at least 3 or 4 other officers on him already. When the full body cam comes out, I'll revisit this because I'm watching this closely. I need to see some repercussions. Y'all have a nice day.